Welcome to Division Rivals. I'm Gabe Cohan.
I'm Kenny Weber.
I'm Lucas Cestro, dude.
And I'm Dwayne Murphy Jr.
And week 3 of the NFL season has come to a close, following a thrilling Monday Night Football game if you're a fan of one of two bad football teams.
Wow. Why did we let him host?
Oh, man, here we go.
The Cowboys do have one of the best pass rushers in football. That is a key takeaway from this.
Man, I looked like two last night, to be honest. It
Yeah. Well, DeMarcus was first to have 2 sacks, and then I don't know how many.
I did think Adigizua got a sack on us. It was
Everybody ate.
It was a time where the strength and the weakness really met each other in that game. That's really what it was. Yes. Cowboys do have a good defensive line. Giants do have a bad offensive line.
It was an unstoppable force versus a very movable object.
Yeah, a very movable Evan Neal in particular.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Does not look like a great first-round pick. Kenny, who's your favorite player on the Cowboys right now? There's one right answer to this. I just want to hear it.
Cooper Rush.
No,
it does not. No.
You're
it's
feeling
not.
the rush.
I
knew he would be.
No. I'm not feeling the rush as quite as much as some people are.
How can you not be? I'm feeling the rush. All right. How can you not be?
You're feeling the rush because you have Daniel Jones on your team. That's the only reason.
No, I need a rush. I need me some sweet rush, man. How can you not be into that, dude?
I'm feeling the rush because I want there to be QB controversy.
Exactly.
They already have to come out and say, like, no, Dak is our quarterback. He might be back next week.
No, this
is like, stop playing so good, Cooper. Stop.
No, that's a good problem to have, but this is not like a Dak Romo situation. Cooper Rush is not going to be starting.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think that if Dak were to come back and let's say Dak rattles off 6 losses in a row,
right?
I wouldn't put it past them that they're going to try to shake it up.
Nah, man. Think about this. Next week you get the Commanders, right? Very winnable game. Okay, then you beat the Rams. Whoo! You mean to tell me you're not going to be feeling the rush at that point, buddy?
No.
I don't know.
No, that means he exactly did his job. He was able to come in when the starter got hurt and win games. That's exactly what he's supposed to be doing.
Who's after the Rams? What's your schedule? Who's after the Rams?
I don't know. I'll have to look it. I'll have to look it up.
Tell you. Let's say he goes on a streak, right? How many games did Dak win before they said Tony Romo couldn't come back?
I think it was 0.
I think it was.
Right? It was just preseason, and then
when they said that they weren't going to have him back, I think it was
like 8 or 9 games.
Yeah, I think he won 9 games in a row.
Coop got 2 right now, man.
Yeah, but
Dak's going to be back before then, right? That's the timeline.
Not if
Dak might be back next
well.
week. Dak might be back next week.
You think so?
Well, that's what they're saying is he got the stitches out, and he could be back this week. I still think he's going to be out a week or two. I don't care if Cooper Rush goes 4-0. I just don't think that they're going to be replacing him. To answer Gabe's original question, though, with the right answer, Micah Parsons, of course. God, man, I wish Trayvon Diggs would have got that pick. He was so aggressive. I like that guy, man.
As
I do
a
like
Cardinals fan, I have a wet dream every night that we have one of those two guys, either Trayvon Diggs or Micah Parsons on a defensive team. And we don't.
Well, you got a historically good guy, J.J. Watt. Did you see him get blasted by the Rams receiver?
We'll talk about the Cardinals in a second. We don't have to talk about them right now. I do want to talk about Saquon Barkley, who still looks like he's rolling.
Come on, he's back,
yeah,
baby.
He's back.
Yeah.
100%.
You're just wasting his best years.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously he's not going to be on the team next year, but this year though, he's back. You know,
he might still be on the team. You don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season.
You think we tag him?
We might. I mean, dude, we're gonna have a lot of cap room even without Kenny Galladay.
The teams that historically spend money in cap and during free agency do not do well.
Yeah, but those are teams that go out and buy foreign players. We're talking about re-signing our own players.
Yeah.
I mean, who would you re-sign on this roster right now, though?
I would re-sign Saquon for sure. I would re-sign Xavier McKinney.
Xavier McKinney.
Yes,
Xavier
McKinney, 100%.
Yeah.
2 plays.
The line is still under contract, even though they suck. You know, we got right and left tackle figured out. I would.
Wait, we don't have right figured out yet. Right is still up in the air.
We can't give up on the top 5 pick in a few games.
Well,
top 7 pick.
If the Cardinals showed anything, you can give up on a top 10 pick at quarterback. So you can give up on anything you want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I definitely Xavier McKinney, Saquon. I could see Saquon getting a tag next year and staying on the team. I don't know if they would because it's either that or big money, right? He's at the end of his
Tag's big
I
money.
feel like tag is big money, but it's kind of doing him dirty because if he can stay healthy the whole season, then he deserves a new contract.
So you
even like a little 2-year, like okay, we'll give you
just to clarify, I'll ask Kenny this question:
Sure.
Having paid a running back a shit ton of money, how do you feel about it?
I still don't think they should have let Zeke walk if they would have let him walk when they did.
Right.
I don't think it's a good. I still don't think it's a good idea, even in hindsight. Like. You'd have to have the hindsight of like this is how it worked out. He got a fucking knee injury.
Yeah.
He didn't. He's had his inconsistent quarterback play, things like that. Where it's like, yeah. But I think that they should want to sign Saquon, but I think Saquon should run as fast as he can out of New York. Like, why would he? Why?
Well, it depends what options he has at the time. Like, what other like very RB needy teams are there right now?
I mean,
tons of teams in that. Tons of teams. Almost every
Green
team
Bay.
in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, Saquon would be, but he to the right mind though, the right offensive mind. Saquon is an addition on.
He'd be the number one free agent if he was actually going to be a free agent.
Well, if he keeps playing like this and stays healthy, but. If that happens, it's more of a reason for the Giants to re-sign him.
You know, I think
right, but why? What's his desire to keep playing for a team who, like, I mean, I guess it really just depends on what that's player dependent. I guess if Saquon doesn't want to, like, win, then he doesn't care about winning.
He wants to win,
he
but
wants to win.
he's definitely committed to New York. I think he's very I think he could see himself being a Giant for life.
He has a young kid there,
Yeah.
He's basically the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like when people come to the games and they come to practice, whatever training camp, they want to see him. Yeah, DJ's there, but it's DJ's
all right,
like, hey.
this without a lot of thought, though, with like not even really like. I mean, you can think about this for like 10 minutes and really figure out some really, 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 really good fits, like what makes the most sense. But even just, dude, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Tom Brady comes back.
Tom Brady has enough.
Tom Brady comes back. Tom Brady comes back one more year, another year.
Yeah,
however many more. But he comes back another year, and Tampa Bay can go pay him and go get. And again, this is all predicated on him being healthy all year this year. But he is healthy right now, and I'm going off these like first 3 games of the season. Is what I'm talking. I'm talking about this sample size of him being back to like the Saquon that as a Cowboys fan, that first season I was like, oh fuck, this is what I'm gonna have to deal with for the next 7 years.
Even with that first season, I don't know if I would pay him. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds to me that as Giants fans, you guys should really just be hoping Saquon gets hurt right now.
No, you can't hope.
No way, yeah.
And then you can just lowball him and keep him in New York.
I would. It would be a bold move to try and get assets for him by the trade deadline. It would be a very bold move if this team was really talking about the rebuild. You know what I mean? That would be very bold to do. But I don't know if they'll do that. I really see a tag coming.
You think they could get a first? You think if Saquon's killing it, just doing as well as he is now, you think a team would cough up a first-round pick for Saquon?
Not a first round for running back.
I see maybe like a third, but a third is kind of a lot. Second,
like a playoff, but like a playoff contender, maybe you don't think? Well,
I don't think so because
the Rams don't have any picks.
Yeah, and they'd be the one team that would actually shell something out. To draw another star. Speaking of the Rams, great transition. They destroyed the Cardinals in a wholly unenthused 20-12 win. Both teams looked bad, and the Cardinals sucked. I told you guys this heading into the season. The Cardinals were going to be bad, and I had some doubters.
That game was still kind of winnable, though.
I didn't doubt. Yeah. I didn't think the Cardinals were going to be better. I was just like that as a fan of the Cardinals, no optimism. That you can't give yourself any like optimism, and you're always the absolute lowest, and you don't have I could be really low. Dude, after week 1, I was very low on the Cowboys, and I was like, oh, the season's over, where I was doing all that right? But it's like
until you felt the rush.
but I can always be like, here's the good path and lay that out. But your pessimism is so strong.
You want to know why? There's no good path for a franchise in Arizona. The Suns now look disheveled. Everything about Arizona sports is just breaking apart right now, as I know it.
Which is weird because you think Arizona's a great place for athletes. You know, you can fucking
year-round
play golf. You know, you can speed. You can fucking I don't know.
I think as far as like
Scottsdale.
No, I mean, I think, I think as far as like talent-wise though, I think it was all still kind of it was all still there. You know what I mean? Like Kyler Murray was trending very, very much upwards. Big contract. As a fan, you know what I mean? And my team had just won 11 games, right? I know that the skid happened at the end of the year. I just felt it's surprising to see you so pessimistic going in.
I did preface it with the DeAndre Hopkins suspension, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you guys watched some Cardinals games last year. When DeAndre Hopkins played, they're a very different team. Cliff Kingsbury, in his post-media interview, one of the reporters asked him, you have a bunch of 5'4" receivers out there blocking on screens. Are you going to change up the play calling? And Cliff goes, no, I'm going to expect them to block and catch the ball. It's like, yeah, but you have 5'4" receivers. Very different.
It's got a 5'4" quarterback. You know what
I mean? Dude, we're tiny. Like, I could go out there and I'd be one of the tallest guys on the team. That's insane.
Yeah, you would, man. You know what I'm saying?
Not worth addressing the Cardinals.
Nice little possession receiver for the...
oh, my God.
You still got Zach Ertz. You know,
Game
3 hasn't got hurt yet.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Do these Rams make the playoffs?
Yeah, they make the playoffs because the NFC West is in complete disarray right now. We have the 1-2 Seahawks, the 1-2 Cardinals, the 1-2 49ers, and the 2-1 Rams. The NFC West, after purportedly being one of the better divisions, looks like an absolute shit show, just like the entire NFC, if we're going to be honest, except one team in particular. That'd be the Eagles. Are they the best team in the NFC?
Yeah, easy, hands down.
Yeah, might be the best team in the NFL, to be honest. I thought you'd think the Bills were invincible, but they had a lot of miscues and stuff. You saw Ken Dorsey flipping his shit. But I mean, we'll get on. I think we'll talk about that later. But the Eagles have not looked like bad. You know what I mean? In 3 games, they look like they've taken like some plays off because they've been up so much. You know what I mean? In games, but nobody has like dominated the way they have over these 3 weeks, man.
I know I'm an Eagles hater, and this is going to come off as a hate kind of thing, but I want to see them beat an elite team, and then I'll call them elite. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Because they blow out the Redskins. Cool. Everyone blows out the fucking Redskins.
Do you have to be elite to be the best team in the NFC?
Not this season.
Yeah, I think so, because you saw very good teams there.
Who's elite in the NFC right now? Like, who's the most elite team in the NFC?
In the NFC now?
Packers, maybe? Yeah, you'd have to say the Packers, even though they got blown out week 1. Like, it's, you know.
So, here's the question then, because because I said most elite.
It is. I think it is the Eagles. I mean, honestly, it has to be, right?
Okay, who they play week 1 and week 2?
They played the Lions and then the Vikings, and they beat both of them pretty handedly.
Yeah.
No, they with the Lions, they went down to the wire. It
was
a 3-point game.
They were up 38 to like 20. You know, like the game, they weren't going to lose the game. I know it was 38-35 final score, but they jumped out to such a huge lead, and they did the same thing to the Vikings, and they did the same thing this week to the Commanders. What the Eagles do, they jump out fast, they attack you, and then they just run the ball, run out the clock, and it seems to be working pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, there are elite units in the NFC. I don't think there's another complete team like you'll see in the Eagles. What to you guys is the most complete unit that you see out there? Because I think the Dallas Cowboys have one of the most complete units on defense, for sure. They're terrifying.
Complete unit out there. I definitely... in the NFC or just in the league?
Just in the NFC.
Just in the NFC. Okay.
God damn! I'm sorry we keep changing the question, but who has a great offense?
It's just the Eagles right now.
The Vikings have a great offense.
It hasn't come alive the past 2 weeks. It has not. Justin Jefferson has been held very, very stoutly on the stat line. Right, he has not done a lot. The Vikings have not looked great.
Yeah, and I honestly I was expecting the 49ers to be better on offense, especially with Jimmy G coming back, but that did not look good either. Yeah, I mean it's very clear. I mean
it's 1 week of him being back too.
Yeah, but what's the common denominator in all that? Quarterback play. You know what I mean? So it's very clear the NFC is inferior in quarterback play and as far as like, you know, talent all across the board. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys have the best defense though. I mean, Tampa Bay has still been very stout. You know, this year.
I would say they're a more complete unit just because they have like more players in the secondary.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, the Cowboys are very good front seven wise, and then, you know, you got a playmaker in Diggs, and other than that, they're serviceable guys.
Yeah, I think there are probably 8 teams in the AFC I'd take over any team in the NFC right now.
Should we just have the playoffs be all AFC teams?
It'd be very ironic if the NFC just completely dominated from now
Bringing
on.
us to the best theoretical question, is it time to reorganize the league?
In what way?
Create some more parity. Let's switch up the division, switch up some AFC, NFC teams. Who are you trading?
I think they should have done this a long time ago, and I think they should have done like something where they switch it up like every 5 years. Like you go into a drawing, and every 5 years you switch up you literally have to draw. These are going to be your NFC and AFC South teams, and you draw you can like maybe you have 8 teams, right? Mm-hmm. So it could go either way. They're still in that region.
Yeah.
And then you draw one for this, 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 and you do each AFC and NFC section. They're together. So AFC and NFC North, AFC and NFC South, you do them all. You do those together. So you can't end up with any combination. Like you're not going to end up with fucking the Chargers and the Giants in the same division, so that they have to travel across the country so much.
Yeah.
But you can still have parity, like you guys are saying, within the
AFC, NFC conferences. Yes.
Yeah. I think it makes sense in theory, but I don't think it'll happen just because they make so much money off of the division rivalry and hate between the teams.
100%. That's why it won't. It won't ever happen. Even if it's something that should happen.
That might be the only thing that would stop it. Is like that's what builds the NFL are those emotional ties. You know what I mean?
Back in the day, the Cowboys and the Cardinals used to be in the same division.
Yeah. Well, Cardinals used to be in St. Louis and Chicago before that as well. So. No surprise there. If we are talking about reorganizing the league, I think 2 teams that are selected initially to split up are going to be the Bills and the Dolphins, especially after this last week's game. Tua Tagovailoa, 3-0 this season. Who would have thought?
Who called it last week? Who called it?
You did. You were the only one out there on that island for Tua. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He has.
Was that the game with a ton of turnovers?
No, it was 21-19, not a huge amount of turnovers, some really good defensive stands. Really what ended up happening, everyone got gassed out. The Bills ran, 90 plays on offense, something crazy compared to the Dolphins, 30.
They throw like crazy. Like they don't.
63 passes for Josh
Jesus
Allen.
Christ, dude. It's it's great for fantasy, though. I mean, you know what I mean?
One more play, and they win the game. You know what I mean? One more play. And then
or if they would have just stopped the clock, they could have maybe...
well, and that's what Ken Dorsey was angry about, because Isaiah McKenzie should have ran out of bounds, and the fact that he didn't, they couldn't stop the clock, and so he was, that's what was caused him to have that blow up in the
Was that the most viral clip from this week? Him smashing.
Shit was awesome. I thought that shit was because it's now I'll be like, don't fuck with that dude.
I like Josh Allen.
Yeah, you guys. Speaking of viral clips, you got to see that clip. There's a number 18 on the Rams. He runs over, just demolishes J.J. Watt, and then goes out, catches a pass. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, that
one
went viral.
Yeah, no one has to watch that. Yeah. No one has to look at J.J. Watt getting
the Dolphins pass rush. They were getting home. Watch out, dude.
Tyreek Hill has brought a swagger to this team. You know what I mean? He's put a swagger into Tua. He's really led the charge, and fuck y'all, Tua is good, and people, I did not believe him. No,
nobody did. But I mean, Dolphins are good. Yeah. I believe if we check the tape, that we mostly said we wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins won. We just weren't willing to pick them. I don't think anybody thought you. I don't think anybody thought you were.
I am surprised. I think I was very, convinced that Buffalo, like the Eagles, were just gonna keep the momentum they had going. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like anybody had an answer for Buffalo. So I was
There's
surprised.
one thing I would say out of all seasons, this is a year that for some reason, I think because things haven't been going the way that we kind of all thought they would for a lot of teams, I think this is the season of all that I forgot it's a long season.
Yeah.
It's a long season. There's a lot of games, and you have to play every single one of those games.
Well, because you're so used to seeing a team that comes out and just demolishes everybody, which I guess you could say it's the Eagles, but again, back to what I was saying, who have they demolished? So I think you're right. It's still very early in the season. Teams are going to start separating, and some teams are going to come back. Some teams already kind of started that comeback from being winless, and some of them are still there, like the Raiders.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely. I mean, if we're talking about Raiders right now, we had Raiders-Titans, which was a wholly enthusiastic.
That game was better than people gave it credit,
Was that so? Now was that the game with a ton of turnovers? There was a game I was watching all the highlights for this morning. I should have wrote this down.
Ryan Tannehill threw a bunch of picks, and I think he threw like.
That's what he does best, baby.
Yeah, and but Derrick Henry went off. You know what I mean? That guy's back. This is his first game where he really showed the dominance that he's shown over the last few years. It went down to the wire. The Raiders had a chance to win the game with a goal line drive. They were at the goal. They had first and goal with a few chances to win the game at the end. But,
and the 2-point conversion miss too, back of the end zone.
Yeah. So I mean, the game it got good, and for teams that people weren't really paying attention to, but the Raiders, they were very people thought they were going to be doing much better than they are to be 0-3. It's
Devontae's pissed.
Yeah.
Well, I would be too. Derek Carr does not throw the ball to him nearly enough. I know he targets him a lot, but
what happened? They were best friends. What happened?
Devontae Adams. This is what I've noticed from watching the Raiders play.
Yeah.
It seems like in crunch time, Derek Carr turns to Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow every single day. And Devontae Adams can be open in double coverage regardless. He's good enough to get open. But Derek Carr has his favorites, and his favorite target in the NFL right now is Darren Waller, if not the opposing team. So,
well, I think it goes back to that some people need more time to play together, even if they played together in college. Mm-hmm. They've played together 3 football games, 3 regular.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's way closer to 0 than it is to a lot. You know what I mean? And it's not again. I mean, even we're not really talking about the Packers, but they're not cooking. They're not really cooking either. So
yeah, very true. I know on the Raiders side, do you guys think that they still have a chance to make the postseason? I think it's over for them. Their season's over, right? Mail it in. You really don't have a chance.
I still see it happening for them. I
AFC
think
West is
because they have such a complete team. I think they could turn it around.
They have time to put it together, and with the Chargers battling some injury, you know what I mean? The Chiefs just dropped a game to the Colts, so we don't know what kind of repercussions that'll have for the league. And then the Broncos but do they look like the dominant team that we thought they'd look like with Russell Wilson?
That's why I picked that game.
Yeah, the real question is, will the Raiders figure out how to win football games before Nathaniel Hackett figures out clock management?
I think that the Raiders will not. I don't think the Raiders are going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to figure it out, because seasons that we've seen them be good with Derek Carr, it's a season where they jump out and we're like, wait, the Raiders are 4-0, and then they still barely get into the playoffs because it's a long season and it's that ride. I guess they could have. I've just never seen them be on the come up on the latter half of the season. It's always they pat. It's almost like they pat it in the beginning and then hope to still hold on till the end. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It makes sense. Wait, but where does that leave the Chargers? Because you can't forget about them. They got a superstar quarterback. They've got some very heavy offseason investments
if he's
that
healthy,
they're hoping are going to pay off.
Hurt, man. That rib.
Yeah, if he's healthy, then if Herbert's healthy, then the Chargers are right there. I think it's between the Chargers and the Chiefs to win the division.
So you think this game, they got blown out by the Jags, is a complete fluke?
Well, Herbert's, regardless, he played, but he's hurt.
Justin Herbert hurt. Keenan Allen out. They lost to Corey Linsley in the game and Rashawn Slater. Like they lost four. That's four of their best offensive players out of a team where you only have 11 players on the field at the time. Like,
right.
That's going to be a huge blow to anyone with 4 All-Pro guys out.
But they're giving them 38 points to the Jags. I mean, this is supposed to be a defense that not only got Khalil Mack, but they also got J.C. Jackson. He hasn't played much, but still, you expect them.
Right, and it's a
they're
defense
already good last year to take a.
I mean, but if you're always
they play with an offense, they play with a good offense. Like the Cowboys defense. Not to bring that up again, is playing with, like, they're not playing with a good offense, and they're being that good defense. It's like the Chargers are usually able to do that on defense with Justin Herbert on the other side of the ball for
100%,
them.
Yeah,
100%.
And I don't know if you're going to make this point, Dwayne, but to me that speaks more to the Jaguars' proficiency on offense and their accelerated timeline with Doug Peterson as head coach, and less to the Chargers.
Yeah.
But,
I totally agree.
Super Bowl winning coach Doug Peterson, who is down there instead of fucking fucking Urban Meyer. you know what I mean? Like, they're doing a lot better. And then you talk about all those injuries, and this happened on the same day that the Chiefs, their biggest competition to them being making the playoffs this season, lost to a way worse team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of it's kind of like if you were gonna lose. Like that, if you were going to lose to Jacksonville, you hope you do it on the same day that the Chiefs lose to the Colts.
The AFC West doesn't look like the powerhouse they were touted to be as a division entering the season. I don't think any of the divisions do, frankly. And especially not the 49ers and especially not the Broncos. Those are two of the teams that we expected to be great heading into the season. And we had an 11-10 stinker. That was the most boring game of football I think I've ever watched.
I don't know. I think
you know what?
AFC North is the best division in football right now.
That's,
you know what I mean? The Browns, Bengals, and Ravens. I mean, and the Steelers.
Steelers have a defense. Yeah.
Steelers are always going to play tough.
But TJ Watt is out. They're going to play tough, but TJ Watt is out for about 11 weeks. Yeah.
So now that we brought it up, the game with all the turnovers was Denver, San Francisco. That's what I was 100%. That's what I remember. I literally I see them just turn that game. Because I was trying to figure out how it stayed so low. Because I was at the open mic. I didn't really see much of the game, but that's why it was tons of turnovers, and then neither team was like capitalizing on those turnovers. I honestly think Russ didn't look terrible. He didn't look good. He didn't look as bad as I thought. But Jimmy G didn't look good. But then earlier you guys brought up the point that was his first game. He didn't get a lot of the first team reps through.
Yeah, but you've been playing with those guys for 3 years.
Yeah, it's still
like it's a very different team.
Yeah, they only changed Trey Lance.
Doug, but we don't even do a sport. We do stand up. We don't even do a sport. And if you're like you only get to do open mics sometimes for a while, and then now we're like, do these open mics this week and then do this show.
Yeah,
you're probably not going to have your strongest performance.
I mean, that's a fair point. He definitely looked rusty out there. He didn't get a preseason or a training camp or whatever. But I said it in the chat, and I really want to bring up this point. You know what I mean? How do you guys feel? Russ, is he washed up?
Is Russ washed? Great question. Thoughts?
I gotta see more of this season, but it's not how I thought he would start.
He's not cooking. He's not cooking very
Have you
well.
seen all the memes out there? Like, Russ cooking, and it's 2 hot dogs and a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, man. It's like that Fire Festival meal out there. They're like, I don't want Russ cooking.
I wouldn't even call it a cup of noodle at this point. Like, this guy is just not... He's not living up to the expectation, but I wouldn't write him off yet. He's still relatively young for a quarterback. He still moves extremely well with his legs, which is very important, especially when his O-line's dog shit kind of like the Giants.
Moves extremely well to get sacked.
The other day, I don't know, he had this one play. It wasn't like a very significant play, but he dodged like 4 or 5 defenders and somehow got the ball out on like a chest pass.
Yeah, little shovel.
To Melvin Gordon, got like a 15-yard gain off it. You know, you're not going to see it on the highlights, or maybe you will because of all the effort he put in, but he doesn't have the best line. He didn't really have a great line in Seattle either, but he had been playing with those guys for so long that he almost knew when the pass rush was going to come from where.
Here's my thing. I think Russ he's always been elusive, right? He's had that athleticism that goes away when you get older. He's never been like that pocket presence like Brady, you know what I mean? So that's been tough for him. And he's shorter, so it's hard to be a statue and be short. You got to move. And he can't move as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's showing. I don't know. call me crazy. I just don't see this going a great season. They're trying to blame Hackett, and I think it's Russ.
Well, maybe Hackett just isn't allowing him to move outside the pocket enough because they have to design those types of plays. Like, he comes from Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, tall dude sits there. Okay, if he has to dodge a couple guys, he can.
Russ's cachet couldn't be like, yo, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like when Peyton went over there, this is the offense I do. When Brady came, I think Russ should be at the level where he's like, this is the offense I do. Like move me around.
Right. But that's him telling Hackett, hey man, come on, just do what I say.
Right. Yeah, that's what he should do.
Let me be Kyler Murray. Give me a fucking headset, bro. Come on, man.
So my theory is doesn't look good, but I got to go with the same thing I said about some other things in the league. It's been 3 games. It's a new team. He played, what did he play, 8 seasons in Seattle?
No, 12.
12 seasons? Mm-hmm. He played 12 seasons in Seattle?
I think he was drafted in 2010.
That sounds about right. 2010, 2011 timeline because Legion of Boom 2012, 2013.
It's almost like the Matthew Stafford trade because he played 10 seasons.
Well, 2012 would be 10 years.
Detroit.
9 years.
If it was 2010, then it'd be 11. I guess 11 years. That's still. This is year 12. I think this is year 12 for Russ. So 11 years in Seattle.
The real thing Russ needs to try is a new religion because clearly Christianity does not suit him well in the football.
Man, his religion is Sierra right now. That's his religion.
His religion is automatic systematic.
Would the Broncos be better with Justin Fields as quarterback?
Right.
Wait. We need Justin Fields to say, let's ride.
Better weapons. I think the only thing holding Justin Fields back is weapons, which they have on Broncos. I would say that. I think Justin Fields would be better on this team right now. I would say it.
I don't know. He has not performed very well.
You got to read the defense too. He's very good at throwing. He's throwing it to the defense. That's why. You know what I mean?
They actually do have the lowest pass attempts in football. I think Justin Fields ranks 33 out of all quarterbacks in pass.
Okay, so I will be honest.
Rush, baby. Feel the rush.
They either have the first or second worst offensive line because the Giants are going to play them this week, and that's going to be number 1 shittiest versus number 2 shittiest. Yeah,
that's got to be a get right game. It has to be with the Bears offensive line.
One could only hope. Do we have other games left from last week?
That's it from last week. Okay. We had washed Russell Wilson taking us out. Speaking of exciting players in the NFL, I feel like there's a heavy concentration of them at the wide receiver position. This year, some quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson's look fantastic. The one area that we're lacking heavily and is the most fantasy relevant, running backs. What is going on with running backs this season? Bringing us to our fantasy takeaways from week 3. Let's kick it off, Kenny, first. What is your fantasy takeaway?
I did a lot better. I did a lot better this week. I won in 3 out of 4 leagues, so I don't think I suck as bad as I thought the week before. I missed the money in 1 league. I got second most points in our goddamn defense IDP league. But my biggest takeaway from the week as a whole, you basically brought up, which is running backs are not great this year. If you invested in running backs, you're not super happy. I mean, Saquon, besides, I don't know, Jonathan Taylor has had, he had at least one big
good game, 2 shitty games. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I run CMC. He looks pretty good. At least he's getting touches down in Carolina.
You need to have that. You need that skill back. Yeah, Kamara's been struggling.
Well, that was 1 week. This is his first week back.
Yeah, you need that skill back though to be successful in the league right now. They can't be like a runner straight up.
And they also aren't. The other thing is that the utilization of running backs. There's very few running backs in the league. I mean, look at Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is almost a premier running back, but the timeshare.
Yeah, with A.J. Dillon.
Right, but I'm not as concerned about the timeshare because he's very involved in the passing game. I own Aaron Jones. I was very concerned about that, especially the first game. I think A.J. Dillon got almost double the carries he did. But, the passing game really kind of evens it out for them.
But it makes it to where if you get skewed in one, if you get skewed in one way because of a game plan or just because of how the game's going or whatever, it takes your It's like not like, somebody like Saquon that's on the field all the time. You know what I mean? There used to just be so many of those running backs in the league.
Right.
And
you mean like bell cow running backs?
Yeah. And then it just seems like, I don't know. Like, I don't think we're ever going back to that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think it's going to vary team to team because, like you guys were talking about earlier, if someone were to trade for someone like Saquon, you have to give him the ball like 80% of the time.
Well, there is one other team that has had running backs perform very well this year in fantasy, and that is the Chicago Bears. David Montgomery, when healthy, was churning, and Khalil Herbert, 157, 2 touchdowns this week.
I like that Khalil Herbert kid. He's really nice, really talented.
I got a quick little fantasy takeaway. Be wary of these receivers that just had a bunch of success. I'm going to start because I happen to leave them on my bench this week. I fucked up. Romeo Doubs, number 1. Hey. Good. I'm glad one of the rookie receivers is popping off. I hope he can continue to have some consistency there. I might start him just because I have no receivers in that specific league. But Romeo Doubs, probably out of the 3 I'm going to mention, has the most chance of being consistently good. Hollins from the Raiders, he popped off. It's going to be hard for him to consistently perform that well when you have Devontae Adams there and Derek Carr, who's supposed to be, butt buddies with him from college. So be wary, but he's worth the pickup. And Devonta Parker, man, I was waiting for this guy. I held on to him all off season. I was like, we got a little dynasty league. It's like, man, if this guy could get it popping with Mac Jones, he could be a fucking great receiver. Because he's one of those guys who just barely gets 1,000 yards a season, but never really had a consistently good quarterback. Except Tua, which I don't know, for some reason it didn't click. So he finally has a great game. Of course, I didn't start him. And Mac Jones gets hurt. So I am going to wait and see how he synergizes with this new quarterback that's going to come in. But probably won't start him next week. But maybe worth the pickup, especially when, Mac Jones comes back. Thoughts?
Will be interesting to see. When you made that butt buddies joke about Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, is that because the Raiders are ass?
Yes. And they won at Fresno State. There's nothing else to do in Fresno State than, butt stuff with your fucking college teammate.
I've never been to Fresno. No
good. You don't need to go to Fresno.
I do agree with you. Devontae Parker looked great. No, injured Mac Jones. I think Mac Hollins could be interesting. I really do like Romeo Doubs with Sammy Watkins going on the IR and Christian Watson still being out. So watch out for Romeo Doubs. Dwayne, fantasy takeaway for the week.
Oh, my fantasy take is, we talked about it a little bit, okay, put your hopes and dreams in Cordero Patterson, baby. All right, if you can get him in a pick'em league, guaranteed, baby. Why are y'all not listening to me when I tell you this guy is the best player in football? All right, watch a Falcons game. I know you don't. I know that it's like, why would I ever do that? This man is the offense. All right, it's a guaranteed 15 to 20 points. I'm not trying to say that just to be like, as far as fantasy purposes, this man will change your fucking life. All right, Cordell Patterson.
If he keeps this up let's say he keeps this up and he does this all year this year, I don't know if he plays what his status will be for next year or anything, but is Cordell Patterson possibly on his way to maybe a Hall of Fame career?
He is top 3 in rushing yards right now, all right? And that's in the NFL. That's not even just fantasy points. Okay?
This is his second year being good, right?
This is his second year but we're talking about, didn't he play for 10 years before that?
No, he was on the Patriots, I think, for about
return specialist too with the Vikings.
And with the Vikings,
originally.
Yeah.
He's bounced around.
Oh, that's right.
And then Atlanta just uses him as the Swiss Army knife.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I think he'll make it in there because he has a history of being an electric player.
In the Hall of Fame?
When you can change games like that, yeah, bro.
He's like a modern day. You guys remember Matt Forte? On the Bears.
But he was a consistently good running back.
Yeah, Matt Forte will never make the Hall of Fame.
I thought you were gonna say what was his name? Devin.
Devin Hester?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Devin Hester.
But Devin Hester was never. They didn't. He played receiver. A little bit, but he was 100% return guy. Cordell Patterson is literally watch him play. He does it all on that football field, dude. You showed me the clip. I went and watched the clip after you told me when he hurdled a guy and then ran over another guy. I was like, this dude is a monster. I don't know what they got. They feeding him in Georgia.
You know
So,
what,
Gabe,
bro? If they can,
we're gonna have to kill this fantasy takeaway segment if every week Dwayne comes on and tells me Cordero Patterson is a Hall of Famer.
Believe that dude 30 points from Cordero this week, dog. I'm telling you.
So what if he does it? What if he does it this season? How many more seasons does he need to do it?
9 more seasons.
Wow,
I have no
that's
idea.
too much.
No, that's too many. But if he does it for 6 seasons of 1,300 yard rushing, he has a chance.
Yeah. I mean, look, either Frank Gore's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and he was not a spectacular running back.
no,
I hate to break your guys' hopes and dreams. He is not.
I think he might get a jacket.
You know what? This Atlanta
dude, down
offense.
at like Colts. He's not getting
like
in for the Hall of
Burlington.
Famer. Yeah. Uses $25 Cole bucks. Yeah.
I don't know. They do gold jackets at Kohl's. They might. we gotta look and see.
It says juicy on the front.
That's hey, those are the bedazzled ones. Those are actually really cool.
Yeah, that's where Frank Gore belongs. Yeah, my fantasy takeaway was all about the running backs. I don't trust running backs one iota this season, especially if they're in tandems, which most of them are. I like Tony Pollard a lot, but missed a touchdown opportunity last week against the Giants because of Zeke. Speaking of Week 4, we have the Cowboys playing the Washington Commanders. The Giants are playing the Bears. The Cardinals are taking the Panthers for our teams. Let's kick it off with the boys and the Commanders. How are you feeling about that game?
I mean, how can I not feel all right going into this game with Cooper Rush pulling off these 2 wins? The Commanders.
I'm telling you, that's what it is. The controversy is real, dog. I'm telling you.
While the Commanders have still played better than I would have expected to begin the season, they're still not, I mean, they're no Eagles, so it'll definitely be a winnable game. I'm going to pick the Cowboys because why would I pick against the undefeated Cooper Rush? That's right. He's 3-0 in his starting career.
Preach it, man.
So why would I pick anything other than the Cowboys? But this goes right back to we're starting a backup quarterback. This could be. I mean, we could literally get blown out in this game. Like the Cowboys. Like this could be. You could just have that game where he shows up, things don't go right, the defense doesn't. The defense can only stop so much, and you end up with like a game that's like 21-3, with the Cowboys losing. Like I could see something like that happening, but the defense keeps them in the games, and Cooper Rush puts them over the top.
That Washington
best quarterback in the NFL. Cooper. No, I'm just kidding.
He might be.
but I think
how many more seasons would he have to do this to be a Hall of Famer? 3, 4.
That's beautiful.
With the Commanders in specific, how many more weeks do you guys think Carson Wentz remains their starting quarterback? Because
I mean, what other option do they have?
Taylor Heineke.
Oh,
Sam Howell as well. Rookie Sam Howell out of UNC.
I mean, if you're going to give Sam Howell a try, fuck it.
Nah, you go back to Heineke was that dude, man. You know what I'm saying? That little tattoo on the arm.
For that one playoff game, yeah, he was that guy.
Yeah, man. He was
led them to 6-9 last year.
I liked Heineke, man. He was like a Tim Riggins of football, bro. Like he was good. I liked him.
I think they're going to give Carson Wentz at least until the middle of the season because they traded assets for him. Yeah, he hasn't looked great. I don't think he has. That first week, he looked pretty okay.
Yeah, he threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What? He looked great in the first week.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns, man.
Doesn't mean he is great, but he looked great.
I just can't get excited about Carson Wentz because it's Carson
Wentz.
Wentz.
But you have to objectively know if somebody has a great performance, even if they're dookie.
I mean, I'd say it was more on the receivers, but sure, you can give it to the quarterback.
Yeah, I'll give it to the guy who threw them the goddamn ball.
He's not a very accurate quarterback. Let's be honest. His accuracy's never been the best.
I do not love Carson Wentz. I think they give him 3 more weeks, and if they continue to lose, because Ron Rivera is on his way out at the end of the season if the Commanders are bad. Well, the real question for the Commanders is who's on their way out first, Ron Rivera or Dan Snyder, who's now getting pressured to sell the team from other NFL owners.
It's crazy how the guy from the Suns gets more pressure to sell than this guy.
No,
Dan Snyder's been getting pressured,
that's not
dude.
crazy.
He's been hiding revenue. Oh yeah, no.
I mean, dude, Dan Snyder, like, he's. I think he's being federally investigated for what is considered human trafficking.
Still on that boat, bro.
Yes, he is.
That's crazy.
Exactly. He's on a boat out in like the Maldives or something.
He's still out there.
That's why it's not crazy that Dan Snyder did not have to sell the team before Robert Sarver. Plus, Sarver's report was bad. We don't have to talk about Arizona sport. In fact, let's gloss over the Cardinals-Panthers and jump straight to Giants-Bears.
Wait, no, Cardinals-Panthers, really quick. That's a Dookie. Speaking of Dookie.
Awful game.
Man.
What a terrible game. Really quickly,
at
least give your picks. Do you think that Baker puts 2 in a row together?
Nah, I can't pick on. I don't think Baker beats Kyler. I think Kyler's got his number.
The Panthers have had the Cardinals' number since Cam Newton literally ran through our entire team.
This is Baker
in the NFC Championship game, and Carson Palmer was there. It's got to be the Panthers. I'm sorry.
Did the Panthers, by the way, just write the Saints' death sentence this past weekend? Because the Saints look terrible.
I think Jameis Winston's back fractures is really what wrote the Saints' death sentence.
That's tough. He can't get that deep ball going anymore. But you
Yeah.
picked against the Cardinals, man? For the Panthers?
Really?
Dude, I'm more about being right this season until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. The Raiders win I was so happy and elated. We're not going to win another football game until DeAndre Hopkins comes back.
I don't know, man. I think you can take the Panthers. I really do.
I mean, I think they can. It's more of a question of will they?
They will. Yeah. They will.
I think if like Baker and Kyler just met in the middle of the field and fist fought, for sure, I'd pick.
That Call of Duty. Kyler. That Call of Duty came out already, right? So Kyler done played it, right? So he got. He's
gonna start.
He's logged his 10,000 hours.
Yeah. He hasn't lost the contract, so he's logging in the study time. So it's like, yeah.
All right, Dwayne, I got you on the Cardinals. Lucas, Cardinals, Panthers.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals, dude. The Panthers. I don't know, man. Like they lose to the Giants one week, but then they turn around and beat the Saints. Like what is this team? You know what's going on here? Can they? I believe in Kyler more than I believe in Baker. So I think that's just what it comes down to. I would take Kyler with no receivers versus Baker, who actually has some pretty okay receivers.
What, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore?
DJ Moore is great. Robbie Anderson.
No, I'm not. I wasn't against it. I'm just saying. I was just saying who the receivers are.
Right.
Kenny, Cardinals,
Panthers. It's a coin flip, and I'm gonna pick Panthers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It really is a coin flip to me. I
did zoom past picks for Cowboys. Manders. I'm going to go out on a limb here saying we're all picking Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling the rush, baby. All right, come on. Give me
like
the
I said,
rush.
That all that does in my heart is, God damn, it's going to be like a 21-3 loss.
I watched Lucas's face light up. He's like, I'm going to zag on the Commanders. Am I wrong?
No, I think the Cowboys unfortunately showed us too much last night to make me pick the other team.
Telling you, baby.
But that front seven, hey, watch out, dude. Chase can get after you.
Yeah, I don't like rooting for Dallas, but
I don't either.
Something about Cooper, man. I'm just the Book of Rush will be adding another chapter on Sunday.
I wish I knew a Rush song right now.
Isn't there a band
I was about
Rush?
to say, don't stop
that's what I mean.
But that's a Journey song.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Stupid me. What is it? Tom Sawyer. There you go. Yeah. Speaking of Tom Sawyer, two teams that have no idea who Tom Sawyer is, the New York Giants and the Chicago Football Bears. Not an interesting game in any capacity. Daniel Jones, Justin Fields. If the Bears win, they'll be 3-1. If the Giants win, they'll be 3-1.
Clash of the Titans.
That's the biggest storyline to me is whichever team wins actually will probably have a pretty decent chance of going to the postseason. As Giants fans, are you nervous at all about playing the Bears team?
Yeah, you can always be nervous because the Giants they have a way of really playing bad when the expectations are high, as we saw last night. But I do think we can bounce back on the Bears. I just think our coaching is
where is this
solid. Game? It's in Chicago. It's at MetLife. I think
it's at MetLife. Yeah.
Still home. So it's like we've had a 3-week home skid. Let's go ahead and close it out with the Bears because we got some tough teams coming up. So yeah, I don't think we expect it to even be 2-1 to be honest. So let's be real. Let's go ahead and get it to 3-1 and really let the world know that the Giants are, not playing no games.
If you want to see horrible offensive line play on both sides, watch this game. This is going to be a fantastic game to watch. Really, because, last week we just got our fucking number 5 overall pick, DN back, Kayvon Thibodeau. He didn't really play so well. He has some plays.
They were on a pitch count. That's what the Wink said that. They were on a pitch count. So.
Yeah. But now, this is the true test. You're going up against one of the worst, if not the worst, offensive lines in the NFL.
Should definitely
if you can't get it done now, man, it's going to be a long season for you. I mean, I think it's going to get better as the season goes on because, like I said in earlier episodes, like teams just don't get better, like in preseason. It all happens during the season. So I have high hopes. I don't think they'll blow them out, but I see the Giants winning by like 7 to 10 points. Hopefully.
G-Man. Kenny, you hopping on?
Oh, man. I just think this is 2 bad teams. I think the final score is going to be like 4-6, 5 safeties.
So you're going to pick your boy Justin Fields.
I know I hyped this game up to be a team of 2 teams that could go to 3-1. The real question, does the combined score of this game higher or lower than what we just saw with Niners-Broncos?
Oh my! I think it's gonna be higher because most football games still have a higher score than that. Even when the teams aren't doing well, it's almost like you're guaranteed somebody's gonna score 20 points usually.
Yeah.
But God, it's a toilet bowl, and I'm gonna have to pick the Giants. That's my gut. Literally just says the Giants are gonna win.
A 2-1 toilet bowl.
For variety, I will take the Bears. No reason, just for variety. I think it's a real toss-up of a game. Roquan Smith's back for the Bears. I think that is a bit of a game changer.
Wasn't he already back?
Yeah, he was playing the full season, but this was I think the first week where his hip wasn't really flaring up. Had the late game pick that sealed it with their eventual game-winning field goal against the Texans. I'll go Bears, continue that winning streak. Other good games this week that we're talking about. We have a good slate overall on football games. We got Jags-Eagles, Chiefs-Bucks, Bills-Ravens, Rams-49ers, among a slate of other good games. These are the 4 we're going to hone in on. Speaking of taking on an elite team, that's what you wanted to see the Eagles do. I think the Jags are up there. I think the Jags are one of those elite teams. Would you agree that the Jags are elite at football?
They have a lot of talent that has definitely been coached way better this year. I also believe in the Jaguars. I'm actually going to pick them to win this game, to be honest. I think that Doug Peterson coaching against his old team, he didn't really – he wasn't a big Jalen Hurts. I mean, he put Jalen Hurts in. You know what I mean? He knows Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? I think that his defense, Josh Allen is going to get after it. Trevon Walker has really been looking like he deserved to be the number 1 pass rusher taken out of this last draft, you know what I'm saying? I think the Jaguars are going to win this game. I think they're a really good team.
Elite?
What this will be like a Miami Bills situation where like I'll respect them. I'm gonna I think their stock really rises. Is contender.
Is Miami elite?
Is Miami elite?
1,000%.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
You have to be elite to just compete with the Bills, but to beat the Bills,
they took them out of their game, which hasn't been done.
You don't have to be elite to beat the Bills. The Bills will probably lose this season to some non-elite teams.
Yeah, but it's like I'm telling you, the dominance the Bills showed. Like Miami took the fight out of them, and like nobody's done that. So I think Miami's up there, man. I'm telling you.
I'm not necessarily arguing against. I'm just wondering. Well, I'm wondering where we're all fault because you're saying like if Jacksonville beats the Eagles, are you considering them elite?
I think they're contender. I think they go up to the contender floor. You know what I mean?
Because I think both of them are just contenders right now. Like I think that's why I think you're just 2 really good teams are playing each other.
Okay.
And we're going to see. I just don't think
it's also very early in the season. There's a chance that no matter who wins, both teams just end up sucking and completely miss the playoffs, lose a ton of games later. Because you have seen teams get off to hot starts and then just completely shit the bed. Not saying this will happen.
Last year's Cardinals.
Yeah.
So I can see the Jags win. I'm going to take them too. I like to, risk a little bit. Why not? It's funny. I used to take the whole, game approach. Like, I'd rather be right. But it feels better when, you just fucking go through gut.
Kenny, you said Jags as well?
No, I'm taking the Eagles.
You're taking Eagles. I'm going to pick the Jags. I absolutely
Really?
love the Jags. Trevor Lawrence very much so looks like a top 10 quarterback right now, if not higher. Christian Kirk got the bag and is showing out.
Come on now. He's
Yep.
like, yo, y'all should have paid me.
And I guess we should have.
Kenny Galladay, take notes, bro. This is how you should be playing when you get the bag.
Especially after he talked that much crap to.
Oh
Okay,
my
sorry,
God.
we won't get into it.
I love the James Robinson, Travis Etienne two-back combo. Both
Beautiful.
of those guys are very good.
Yeah.
They look like a very good football team. They're very well coached. Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, fantastic defensive players. I like the Jags. Not saying the Eagles are bad. Devonta Smith, did you see some of the catches he had on Sunday?
Bro.
He climbed the ladder. I think it could go either way. I'm gonna pick Jags.
I'm actually glad the Eagles aren't overusing AJ Brown. I thought they would. Just fucking make him immediate number one, feed him the ball. But now you can argue that Devonta Smith is the number one.
Well, AJ doesn't have.
I mean,
like,
it's They just the first game they threw it all to AJ Brown. Devonta had no catches. I don't even think he had a target.
Yeah.
The first game of the season.
He didn't have a target? There's no
No.
way.
No, I have him on fantasy, so I was very alarmed
Wow.
after the first game of the season.
Yeah. AJ doesn't run the routes like Devontae runs, so.
Yeah. Well, another team, very similar structure, which is, hey, let's pair up one of the best wide receivers in football with an Alabama standout at quarterback and wide receiver. The Dolphins. The parallels between the Dolphins and Eagles are not lost on me. We'll talk Chiefs-Bucks. Next, Chiefs-Bucks, the next game we are talking about. Chiefs-Bucks, two elite teams faced off in a Super Bowl not too long ago. Still have Tom Brady with no wide receivers and Patrick Mahomes after losing to the Colts. This is a good game, an interesting game. Do the Chiefs rebound?
Yeah.
Do the Bucks rebound?
No, I think the Chiefs. I call Chiefs in this one.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is back though, right? He was only suspended for one game.
1 game suspension.
Okay, yeah, but I mean the BAP defense, man, that rush could get at Patrick Mahomes pretty well, but I think I still like him better in this game. I think he has more talent at receiver, so yeah, I'll go with the Chiefs.
I like the Chiefs too. When they're hungry, they're I think more unstoppable than the Bucks. Not saying the Bucks aren't hungry, but it's there's so a ways to go from being like the top tier elite team they once were. They got to get.
Are they? Well, yeah, just because of their division, they'll be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes beef on the sideline, that's a bit of a call out. Let's watch how that one develops over the season. Offensive coordinator, quarterback not liking each other. That's interesting. Frank Clark getting called for what many called a bit of an over-officiating penalty for using abusive language, setting up the Colts for the game-winning drive last week. I think the Chiefs are fine. They're in business. I'm still worried about the Bucs on offense. They don't really have anything going for them. Their guards look weak. I'll take the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, if the Chiefs didn't lose to the Colts, we'd all probably be picking them heavily, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Especially after the Bucs looked anemic on offense against the Packers. Yeah, I mean, we still had a clean sweep on the Chiefs. Was there any hesitation when you guys make that pick, Chiefs over Bucs?
No, because I just think that their talent across the board is just a little bit stronger than the Bucs, a little bit more youthful than the Bucs too. So, I mean, the Bucs could hit them with the run game, the power run game with Leonard Fournette. That has been something that has been good against the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes is really at the top of his game right now. So I see him pulling this one out.
There was a little bit of hesitation on my end because you can never count Brady out, and even though the offense is kind of struggling, they still run the ball pretty well. They've still got options at receiver. They get productivity out of there. I mean, this last game they got Russell Gage going off.
Yeah, but
the fact that you can get that kind of production from a guy like that, he's like a third, fourth stringer when everyone's
I just
healthy.
think that divorce is really hitting him hard, bro. Like, you see Tom out there? Tom's just like, you know what I mean? Like, he got a lot on his mind right now.
They're going to have to amend that documentary to Tom versus Time in Court.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what he's going through right now.
Yeah.
Are they getting divorced for sure?
I mean, I don't know, but it's been a distraction, and you can tell. You can tell. So Tom has not looked this disorganized. You know what I mean?
Did you see he also hurt his right ring finger I know it's the left that the ring typically goes on, but right ring finger, Tom Brady.
I'm just saying, man.
It's an omen.
I don't think they get divorced. There's way too much money involved.
Yeah, well, that's what you think. And Jeff Bezos
she has more money.
No, I know, but that's why. Can you imagine? Remember last week I was like, dude, imagine like the dude is cashing in on that divorce.
Okay, well, we'll call up a divorce attorney for the next episode.
You've got a guy,
to
right?
help us sort it out. I know plenty of guys. Speaking of omens, quote the Raven, nevermore. 2 elite quarterbacks showing down. Bills-Ravens this week. If I had to rank these 2 quarterbacks right now, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, I'd rank them 1-2 in terms of in-season performance.
Is that just because you have both of them in our fantasy league?
There's a slight potential that's the reason.
Ridiculous.
But no.
No, it's not a bad.
No,
it's not
Lamar's
a bad
look great. I think Jalen Hurts would probably rank number 3, if I'm going to be honest, the guy I traded away. But Bills-Ravens, do love this game. We'll be very interested to see if Lamar continues his trend upward in terms of the upper echelon. How big is the bag that he gets this offseason? Is he setting the market?
He has to. No, who else is going to set the market? I mean, Josh Allen already re-signed. Mahomes already re-signed. I think Herbert hasn't re-signed yet, but they're going to get the same amount, if not barely one more than the other. They're just going to keep resetting the record.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, I think that's why he didn't sign with the Ravens this offseason, because he probably wants to be the highest paid and most guaranteed quarterback in the league. I mean, why wouldn't he want that?
He needs to be, because of the elite quarterbacks, he's got the shortest shelf life.
Yeah.
He's not going to be like he's not.
Well, that's what you think, but there's guys that are made of steel.
And guys like him are not made of steel.
Not even that though. He doesn't. I will say he doesn't run reckless, which is something that you would expect. He started to tone it down on the whole, like, just always putting himself in danger thing a little bit.
Two things there. Rashad Bateman emerging as a guy who at least can draw coverage away. So the Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Devin Duvernay, they have a true receiving court. They're going to get their running backs back at some point too as well. I think the Ravens are on the up. He should be back this week, right?
Well, he was already back, but he was on the pitch count. So next week he's supposed to, be, if not a full participant, at least maybe 80-70% of the snaps he would regularly get.
To Kenny's point, though, running quarterbacks typically shorter shelf life. Would the Ravens franchise tag him this year?
They should.
They should, but I think that would really create some bad blood. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson has pretty much he's been he is their offense. He's their whole. He's more than just the face of the franchise.
I wonder how long Josh Allen's contract was.
They did his last year. That looks like a bargain right now, to be honest.
But was it 8 years?
8 years?
Probably.
No, it's an extension, I think, onto his current deal. So I think it makes it 7 years total.
7 years. So would you be comfortable? Do you think in 7 years, so 2029, do you think Lamar Jackson is going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL?
That's a good question.
I think so, because he's not going to rely as much on his feet. I'm sure he's still going to run a fuck ton, but I mean, look at Russ. He used to run a lot more, and then over time he slowly kind of.
But it was still.
That's what makes me nervous. You're right. Lamar might, if he loses that athleticism. I mean, Michael Vick, he managed to pull out some extra years even at the end of his career. You know what I mean?
But he didn't play some of those years in his prime. He literally his body was saved, and Michael Vick's the bad one to use it would be a bad one to use in my favor, because he got hurt so much. Literally,
then he was getting hurt.
And I don't think Lamar's like you said. I don't think he's as careless as Michael Vick. I don't know. I just don't think I think Lamar Jackson is great. I think he's a great quarterback. I just think him playing over the age of 30 is. I think he has to be treated more. I think he has to be treated more like a running back. I think it might be fucked up, but and he has the opportunity to evolve just like everybody does. He could become a pocket passer and all this, but I don't know. That's just not what I see trending.
So you would definitely go with tag, and then after that, what you just give him one more year and then let him walk?
Well, what I would do is I would be trying to pay him a shit ton of money, make him the highest paid per year. But I would not want to be getting in. I'd want to be getting into a contract where I could cut him after like 4 years.
Well,
So you just sign a 4-year deal, because that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, okay, I'll give him all the money, but yeah, give him 4 years and then reevaluate.
But the quarterback's not going to want that.
Yeah,
He's going to want the he's going to want the
guarantees.
commitment. He's going to want a 7 to 8 year commitment.
I don't know, because
Deshaun took 5, right? Was it 5 years?
Deshaun also at the time that he took the contract, I mean, he also made $250 million, all guaranteed money off of it, right?
Yeah.
So if you completely guarantee me $250 million across 5 years, that's better than a contract that potentially pays me $500 million over 10 years, not all guaranteed, right?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not. I think it would be a good thing for him to sign a 4-year deal, and here's why. You got to look at the evolution of the team. Like, yeah, they're probably still going to be good in 4 years, but who's to say the defense is still as good as it is today? You know, some of those guys are going to get older, and then offensively, you know, some of these skill position guys have short shelf lives. What if J.K. Dobbins isn't playing the way he's playing now?
I mean,
Devin Duvernay doesn't work out long term.
Yeah, I'm really starting to see what Kenny's saying. Like, everybody has a short shelf life. The more you really, like, peel back, you know, you look at it. You know what I mean? Like, if Lamar Jackson's athleticism wanes, you know what I mean? It's like we said with Russ. Like, he runs into the same problem, right? You know what I mean?
But I think Russ can, and he's proven that he's still good even when his athleticism wanes.
He would not these last 3 weeks.
I mean, these 3 weeks, no. But you look at maybe not last year.
Well, last year it was his hand. It was his hand. It was
right.
He was injured. He didn't.
But the
play,
year before, you know, he was still very competitive.
Right.
He was still an elite quarterback.
Right, but I mean that's 2 years.
2
though.
years.
You know what I mean? That's
you're less athletic than you was 2 years before
Yeah.
that, and that we're talking about 11. If this is year 11 or 12, that was year 9 or 10.
I don't know, man. You
know what I mean?
you turn on the tape, this guy can still make a lot of people miss. He still can play quarterback very well.
Can't make the 49ers miss.
I think he. So I guess the real question is, does he win this game? Since we've lamented over Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? I'm going to say
Josh
yes.
Lamar. I got one from Team Lamar.
I'm going to pick Team Lamar. Just because I think that the Ravens have a better defensive unit than the Bills do.
I think the Bills after that loss, I think they're going to come back and right it. I think the Bills are going to win.
Okay.
Lucas?
I'm really torn here because the Bills are hurting on defense. I think they placed Micah Hyde on IR. They've got 3 other defensive starters that were out. I don't know if they'll be back. If they're not out, I'm just going to go with the Ravens. Although I really like the Bills. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier was it's funny because you have a lot more confidence in like Josh Allen being, you know, staying healthy long term, but he's more reckless than Lamar Jackson. Like, yeah, he runs less, but when he runs, he's fucking reckless.
Big boy.
Yeah, but that's
Big boy.
but they signed him already. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why they were like, they jumped on it early. That's why it's surprising the Ravens. But I mean, they said the Ravens had a contract out there, though.
Not to beat this to death, but I think that if he was willing to accept a 4-year contract that made him the highest paid like per year quarterback in the NFL, I think if he was willing to accept that, I think they would have signed him. I think it's more. I mean, it's more than that. That was how it was for Dak.
Yeah.
They were trying to do all kinds of different things for Dak, and he was like, no, the long commitment, and I think is what they all want. And then if they don't give that to him, then it's always that thing. It's always like that jealous ex-girlfriend or jealous girlfriend type thing where they're like, well, she got this. You know what I mean? Like that's really
how
what
quarterbacks work. That's how quarterbacks operate.
That's how it goes. And so I think. I don't know. I think it's going to be. He's probably going to get paid. That almost always happens. It's so rare that a quarterback. Look at what happened with Dak.
Yeah, I mean, Dak getting hurt was the best thing that happened for him.
Because
he got that bag after.
He did. They saw how much the Cowboys needed him. Yep. You know what I mean? Ben DiNucci put money in Dak's pocket.
Yep. I'll follow the motto of Big Sean. Last night I took an L, but tonight I bounced back. I'm picking Bills over Ravens this week. Bring us to the final game we're going to discuss. These two quarterbacks faced off in an NCAA BCS championship, or whatever they're calling it, college football championship. Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins are playing Joe Burrow and the LSU Bengals. LSU Tigers. Bengals. They'd be better if they were both
Tigers. They are Tigers, yeah. It's like the same, with the same receiving core.
Cincinnati, honestly, Jamar Chase. Trade for Justin Jefferson. It's an interesting game. Bengals looked pretty good this last week. Obviously, Miami looks good. Will Miami continue to be one of 2 undefeated teams left in the NFL?
Yes.
Going down the line of Miami being elite, I do not think that the Bengals are elite. I think they're like a really, they're a good, solid team with a bad offensive line.
Right.
I think the Dolphins are going to win. I'm like, if I wasn't going to, how can they just beat the Bills? Like, I can't even like that simple math. I can't pick against them this week.
I love the Dolphins in this game. If you look at the matchup of their defense, their pass rush against that, conglomerate of men you call an offensive line for the Bengals. Not that I can talk. The Giants are up there as far as the worst. It's going to be a bloodbath. I don't know, 6 sacks, 8 sacks. What are we talking here? I'm excited to see that matchup. If they can somehow hold up, they might have a shot at winning. But right now, I'm putting my money on the Fins.
That's 2 for the Fins. 2 idiotic dogs fighting.
Whoever wins this dog fight is going to be.
We should put some. That's how we should pick our. That's how we should pick our games. We'll put some jerseys on the dogs.
Well, hold on, wait. The NFL dog fight.
The question we had earlier is: was Mike Vick more hurt? Was he doing more hurting? Because right now I'd argue more hurting is being done.
Oh no! For the record, these dogs are playing. That's what I meant. But they're just loud assholes.
They're too small for it to matter. So.
I'm gonna stay on the train, keep the momentum going. Dolphins, better pass rush, offensive line. Joe Burrow just can't keep taking those hits.
Yeah, I completely agree. I got Miami winning that game. I think it's gonna be closer than people expect. The Bengals looked good for the first time ever last week this season.
We almost have a winner, guys. Trust me. We're close.
Really close. But I do think the Miami Dolphins are a better football team and are going to win. That will take us to the end of the podcast.
What a way to end. That's why I realize we're about to end, so I'm like, there's no reason to stop this madness.
On that note, thank you guys for watching, and tune in next week.
We'll tell you who the winner was.
Of a play fight between dogs. Don't fucking PETA me or some shit.